Dan, I have a serious question for you, and I need a serious answer.
Oh, okay. Well, let me prepare myself. Let me get in my serious mode. All right.
Serious question. Why do we have pinky toes? Why? Explain this to me. Why do we have pinky toes? Is it just to find furniture late at night?
That could be, and I'm going to go with because we have pinky fingers. I don't know.
I've been hobbled this week. I literally ripped my pinky toe off the side of my foot one night.
Ooh.
Yeah, I found the coffee table late at night. And then, then the cat starts batting it around the room, and I had to chase it. She knocked it underneath the closet door. So I went ahead and glued it on back to my foot and just hoping that it holds.
Well, I would have left it off so you don't have to worry about that again.
Oh my gosh. That's what I'm, you always say you never know what's going to happen anyways. Always be grateful for what you have. And man, when you're a sole proprietor too, and in firewood, you're always thinking, sharp chain, blades and saw blades and big heavy logs falling on top of you and breaking your leg in half. And here I am. I've been hobbled by a pinky toe.
The coffee table late at night.
Gosh.
Hitting the toe. Yeah.
Tell me that hasn't happened to you though. It's just you kick the coffee table, you felt it, and you're like, oh man, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt that bad right now. And then like 5 seconds later, you're like, whoa,
yeah,
I can't see straight. What's that strange pain. Odor?
Yeah. Just shoots through you. I hear you.
Yeah. So I had a slight problem with my pinky toe. It looks a little bit better now. It's just multicolored.
Ooh.
And then I got swarmed. I got swarmed by bees, hornets. Well, I guess these were wasps, the black ones, the mud daubers. Is that what they're called?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I got swarmed by wasps, and I got stung earlier in the year, and it's weird. I just got swarmed again, and like all of my old stings came back to life. Weird.
So you're really having a great end of summer.
Well, it took my mind off my pinky toe for a while, and I don't know. It's funny. You get stung by bees, and then you're like, it hurts so bad that you're limping, even though there's no reason for you to limp. But then in this case, I did. It's because my pinky toe woes.
The pinky toe woes. That's too bad. Yeah, well, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Always be grateful for what you have,
Yeah, I don't know if I have an actual serious answer to your serious question, but
why do we have pinky toes? Why do we have pinky toes?
I have no idea. To find furniture, I think that's the good response right there.
Yeah. So Dan, I had something on my mind from our previous episode about the fraud, about they're not listeners, but I hope that they have become listeners. They're obviously into firewood, but they had problems with a fraud situation up in Canada where they answered an ad for firewood, paid an advance for the delivery. The guy did a really good job taking their money, but never brought the wood.
Never brought the wood. Yeah, that was an unfortunate incident right there.
Yeah. Maybe we can put a link to that episode in the podcast notes. Do you think we can do that?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so people know what we're talking about. But there was something that I think we missed that I feel that I would like to bring up for everyone to understand. And I'm not an expert on this, but I have been around the pike when it comes to internet fraud because I've been a victim of this too. My recommendation, what I missed in that episode was, it seems to me, and then when I read that email again, that the victim made this online purchase not with a credit card, but with a debit card. Did you read that the same
Yeah,
way? Did you pick up on that?
yeah, I kind of got that same. Now that you mention it, I do. I did get that same impression. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And my recommendation is, even if you are against credit cards, uh, that is, you never, ever, ever make an online purchase with a debit card. Never. You only make online purchases with a credit card. And the big reason is, the money is, it's money. It's taken out of your account, you know, and that is a heck of a hard, it is a lot harder to get that back than it is if you use just a generic credit card. Because I think the rules have changed now. You're like technically only on the hook now for $50 if you got engaged in fraud, if you were a victim of fraud.
Right.
So, yeah, that is something I wish I would have said in our previous episode. If you, because I mean, probably everyone's now making online purchases. Don't use a debit card. I would even take that one step further. I don't think you use a debit card anywhere anymore, unless it's at your ATM for your bank. I don't think you make, if you don't want to use a credit card for whatever reason, I think that you at least get the credit card, but then just don't carry a balance on it. You take the cash that would have been made if you purchased it on your debit card, and then you just pay it off
Right.
so that you
Yeah.
never carry a balance on your credit card. You just have to be disciplined with that. But just too much can happen. If you get your numbers stolen, someone somehow rips you off with an online purchase, you're not out your cash. You're
Yeah.
this is just a balance that goes onto your account. You can file a claim with your credit card company, and then that claim process, however that company has it, takes place, and you're not out cold hard cash.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the draws I think that makes debit cards attractive is that the money comes right out of your account, so always know that you have the money to make the purchase. But in this case, to your point, I think it would be any online purchases best done with a credit card because then if there is
Yes.
something, you can dispute it and your money's not gone.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned this lesson the hard way, and this was a while ago, back in the early days of credit card fraud. I used my credit card. No, it was my debit card. I used it at a Chinese restaurant. And it wasn't until the second statement that got mailed to me. I missed it. It was on the tail end of my next month statement. I had like $1,200 of long distance phone calls made to China on my debit card.
Ooh.
And the challenge was, this was cash that was taken out of my account. This wasn't just a balance on a credit card that I could, and it made, I challenged it, and I got all my money back. But because it was a debit card, I had to challenge each and every incident, and there was like 50, 50 different phone calls to China on like one of these 1-800 reverse toll kind of calls. So had it
Yes.
been a credit card, we could have handled it a completely different way. So that was my early lesson. You never use your debit card. I have a debit card for each one of our accounts. I never use them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Never use them.
my plan is just never have any money in your account. So if you do use a debit card, nobody can rip you off.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
Yeah. That was like when I lived in Memphis. Everyone's cars were getting stolen except mine, because mine was always on empty. They couldn't get very far in my car. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. But that whole episode, gosh, I can't
Yeah.
stand a thief. I can't stand a liar. I can't stand a liar and a thief. And they're one and the same. And then when I hear that kind of stuff, it just ticks me off.
And then when it's also in the firewood industry, the firewood community, like firewood suppliers all of a sudden start getting lumped into this ripoff artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it seems like there is still, a lot of, if there's a fraudster out there, it's hard to control them now, especially with social media and all these different ways that they can put all these ads out there. But I think too that this is an opportunity for us in the firewood industry to not just police ourselves, but to hold our own selves to high standards and try to make it clear that we have separated ourselves from all of these, because all these fraudsters out there all have something in common. They've borrowed someone else's social media. Well, they stole it. Their own, the pictures aren't theirs. And then, the customer service part of it, that was, the guy was requiring payment up front. And that's not cool.
No,
Um,
no.
you can, if the customer wants to pay you in advance, that's different. But if that is a requirement for your services, you got to cut that out. And that's not the same as showing up to someone's house and having them pay you before you dump it onto the ground. I would imagine that's happened before, where they dumped it on the ground and the guy won't pay you.
Yeah,
Okay,
then
that's totally different. But
yeah, that's a completely different situation where, if you get to the property, you get to the homeowner, and you want to wait to get paid before you put the firewood on the ground, that's different than payment up front in advance.
Yeah, yeah. I would want to make a public service announcement that you do not pay in advance for your firewood, unless there's always exceptions. If you have an established relationship,
Right. Yep.
if this person comes highly recommended, you verified that he or she is a member of your community and that they're a legitimate business, all of that, if it's a secure website, if it's an HTTPS website, versus, some other scamming type of domain, all of these things. But gee whiz. And that's what I think with the firewood industry. There's just so much garbage that goes on in all of these legitimate industries. I had a bad experience on vacation, and you see with the airlines and all these BS fees that they start dumping on, where they have all of these enticement rates for a flight to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Fly to Las Vegas for $99, and you're like,
Yep.
heck yeah, man, let's go.
Let's
So you
go.
buy your ticket, and then when you go to checkout, they add like $400 of fees on top of everything else, because you got to have a bag.
Yep.
You got to have a
Baggage
carry-on.
fee,
You got to pay for your seat.
runway
It's just,
fee, liftoff
and then
fee.
even though it's a corporation that's doing it, it's still dishonest. And why do we give these corporations a break on that?
Yeah.
And I just hope that the firewood industry doesn't follow along with that whatever your price is, you could have the highest prices in town, you could have the lowest prices in town. But I would hope that, at least with the firewood industry, that we have truth in pricing and that we don't ever see trends like that happening in our industry.
Yeah, that would really be unfortunate. But on the other side of it, I think it would just allow and present opportunities for someone else to then step in and provide that service. Where with the airline industry, you're a little cornered. You're stuck.
Yeah, it's a monopoly.
Yeah. So with the
it's a
firewood
monopoly.
industry, you might have, if you're doing stuff like that, you're going to get away with it for a little bit, but then sooner or later, word of mouth, customer is going to just go somewhere else. And as long as it doesn't become a standard, then we're fine.
Yeah, maybe we've talked about this about the firewood industry. I think the firewood industry is a very diffuse, uncentralized industry. It's really like, I don't know if the Wild West is an appropriate analogy, but it's just a bunch of individuals doing their own thing.
Yes.
But there are still trends that happen within an industry. The airlines is low hanging fruit. The other one that you hear about now are the concerts, these concert tickets, these these poor teeny boppers that got ripped off on their Taylor Swift tickets, where it's like a $200 ticket and then it's like $1,700 in fees.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear about that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Well, it's bad when the government wants to start taking action against some of these
Yeah.
practices. And we had one recently. I told you about my vacation experience, and I went along with it. And I think that's probably what makes me so disappointed. But man, they got me good. We went on vacation to West Virginia. There's this 4-season resort. We've been going to it forever. It's called Snowshoe. What a beautiful part of the world. You feel like you're just in a different universe when you're there. It's just undescribably beautiful. And we go there not every year. We used to. Now it's kind of like every year, every 3 years we'll go. And so you start planning your vacation. You have it in your head how much money you want to spend. You get on their website. You start looking for a room that you can afford, that's nice enough for you, but still not too expensive. So we chose on this. These rooms. People own them, so they're kind of like through the ski resort. They rent them out, and then the owner gets money. And we
Okay.
picked the
Yep.
room. It was like $200 a night. That's a lot of money still.
Ooh.
But I
Yeah.
thought, for a vacation, we can splurge here. So we chose this room for $200 a night. And, we think, well, we want to go ride the four-wheelers. We want some lift tickets to ride the ski lift,
Sure.
go to the
Yeah.
bottom of the mountain. Oh, let's have some fun. So we budget ourselves, we plan everything, we type it all in to the cart, and then we go to checkout, and our $200 a night room just got hit with $300 in fees. This was a 2-night stay, so it'd be $400 for a hotel room, and then they nail us with $300 in fees for that hotel
Woo!
room.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's just I I avoid politics. This might get close to politics here and stuff, but I'm just saying that there's got to be truth in what you're charging. And what we have done, we have created one of the laziest generations of corporate leadership that this country has ever seen. And they can't generate, it just seems like these bigger corporations. I'm not talking about the small mom and pops, or even like the industries that you see in firewood, where there's no major Fortune 500 companies here that we're talking about. But holy cow, that can't you come up with a more beneficial way of generating income, more creativity, more innovation? Invest in your people, invest in your communities, make your corporation bigger instead of just doing the lazy thing of coming up with these BS fees. And these fees were so lazy that the one fee, and it was the largest one, was called other. It was the other fee.
I was just going to ask,
There was
what were the fees for?
there was
Other.
the resort fee,
Yep.
one that was called the resort fee, one was called the cleaning fee, one was called the housekeeping fee, and the biggest of them all was called other. They were too lazy even to give it a legitimate name.
Wow.
And that's what they do.
Yep.
And when I got my questionnaire about my stay, and it's a shame because Snowshoe is such a great place. All of the people that work there, they are committed, humble servants. They cannot do enough for you. They're all nice. The young people that go live on these resorts, and work there
Yeah. Yeah.
all summer long. What a great place. And it's the corporations like this that just have this arrogance about them, and they get away with it. And that's what I'm blaming myself. And I let them get away. I should have just said, we're not going to Snowshoe.
Yeah. I was just going to say, but you still went, didn't you?
I still went.
Yeah.
But that was the problem. Why can't they disclose that up front? They didn't give that to us until after we invested all of this time into this purchase. Days that we planned all of this to make sure that we could all go, because I got kids that live in different parts of the region now. And then
Yep.
when you go to checkout, then they get it to you. And that's what I hope, that we don't do that as a firewood, that if you have a stacking fee, that people know what it is up front.
Right.
If you have a delivery fee, that people know what it is up front. That, you don't have an advertisement for, $400 a cord, and then you show up and the bill's $600.
Yeah.
I hope that the firewood industry doesn't follow this lazy trend that corporate America is playing with right now, because it's baloney.
Yeah, that is.
Hmm.
I've seen it in all kinds of things, and yeah, if you are getting into selling firewood, here you go. Take some notes on what this upcoming. Well, we're getting into the thick of things now for firewood season. Yeah, don't be trying to add fees and
Gosh,
nonsense.
the way, ugh, the way I see it, we are all adults, and usually adults can handle the truth. Even if they don't want to hear it, at least you can say that, well, at least I was upfront about it. I would
Yes.
have been much better off with snowshoes saying, your room is actually $375 a night,
Yep.
than $200 a night. And then they nail you with $300 in fees when you go to the checkout. Come
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
Airlines are the same way. How many times, your flight that you took to Utica or to Syracuse, wherever you take you see, oh, it's only $200 to fly there. But then why is my credit card billed for 600?
Yep. You have to, pick your seat and check your bag. And then when the other fun thing is like, if you have a connection flight, so like if you stop somewhere, we, flew to Chicago. So then you have to pay for your bag from Minneapolis to Chicago, but then pay for it again from Chicago to Syracuse. And it's like, well, what do you expect
Yeah.
to do? You can't leave it behind. You can't pay just one half of your journey for the bag. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Maybe it's because it's a monopoly, that you don't have a monopoly in the firewood industry. These airlines, and the government lets them get away with it. They get big, they get their bank accounts filled, and then they buy another airline, they buy their competitor. When there used to be a bunch of
Yep.
airlines, now there's just a few, and there's just nowhere else to go. And they all do the same thing. They all have the same prices. There's no competition. Same thing with the people that make the airplanes. All the airplanes look alike. All the cars look alike. Why do all the cars look alike? There's no competition, it seems, in the automobile industry anymore. No one's taking chances. No one's innovating. No one's creating
No.
new and exciting things. They just make everyone's cars look exactly the same. There's well, Ford don't even make cars anymore. The Ford Fusion, the Toyota Camry, the Chevy Malibu, the Hyundai whatever. Hyundai only copies other people's car styles. The BMWs, they all look exactly the same. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. Yes, I
Everyone's
have.
scared to take a chance anymore. It's just a lazy generation of corporate leadership, and we've created them. and then I paid my fees.
Oh, but do you think it's kind of the opposite though now with like when say a consumer wants some firewood, they go on Facebook Marketplace, right? They
Yeah,
see 20 ads for firewood for sale.
yeah,
And that's where I think more and more I think like the opportunity for the scam artists to step in because they see that there's a lot of firewood available. They make a page, they make a post, and now as a consumer, you're sitting there saying, okay, well, what is the best deal? What is the best rate for firewood? Oh, here's this guy. Well, he's requiring payment up front or 20% down. Okay, I'm saving $80 over the next guy. I'm going to pay the down payment and then I get scammed.
yeah. But I also think there's probably something else at work with that too, and this gets back to customer service standards within the firewood industry, because the big complaint that I hear from all of my customers that have dealt with other firewood companies, the first complaint is they never called me back. Or when they did call them back, they never showed up when they were supposed to. And here, this scammer, what did he do? He immediately replied to the
Yes.
request. And here and you might still have a legitimate person, but they can't bring you the firewood until like 2 weeks because there's just so much demand out there. But this crook, who's not bound by actually delivering the goods, is going to say, well, I can bump you to the top of my list if you pay me up front. and I will be out
Yeah.
later today. I'll be
Right.
out later today. And that is an enticement. So they're kind of exploiting one of the known realities of the firewood industry is the professionalism of phone calls, answering your phone when someone calls, returning messages when people leave messages, showing up when you say that you're going to show up. And I just wish that everyone in the firewood industry could just take a pledge and just say, when I say I will be there on Thursday at 3 p.m., that I will be there at Thursday at 3 p.m. Period.
Right. Yep.
You know,
And
there's
to your
no
point,
excuse.
answer your call, answer the phone, because I think that's one of the things that people, and this is, I guess, a PSA to those who are buying firewood, like, get a number, make a phone call, talk to a person, because that's where you
Yes.
can, I think, really weed out and filter out the scammers.
Yeah. I here's a case study. So on my website, I have one of those fields that you fill out. If you want to buy firewood, you type in your name, your
Yep.
address,
Form. Yep.
and yeah, and with a message box, and they'll say, "Can you? I'm looking for a price for a quarter cord of X to this address. Can you give me a quote?" Well, even then, this most recent one, I email the guy back. It's directly from my email, from my domain, which if you click on it is my company.
Yes.
You can verify that we're local. There's phone numbers too, if he wanted to call or text me at it. So I think that all gives a level of trust to the consumer, even though you haven't spoken, face to face. There's still that level of trust, which I don't know if this person that got scammed last week, went to that level. It doesn't sound like it. It was all
I don't
done
think so.
through Facebook Marketplace,
Yep.
probably, or
Because they,
what's instant
yeah,
messages.
it was Facebook. They included screenshots of their whole conversation, and it was all through Facebook Messenger or Facebook Marketplace, and then just Messenger. So it was all just messages back and forth. Never an email, never a website, never a phone number. All just through Messenger on Facebook.
Yeah, and then when you think about it too, Dan, if you are delivering firewood, do you see where it would be absolutely necessary for a person to pay you before you show up?
No.
I don't see how, unless you're buying your firewood somewhere and you are just so strung out on cash that you need someone to pay you so you can go buy it off of someone else and then take it to that person. But I would highly caution. That was like my friends, because I'm looking for someone to put a new roof on my house. I can't find anyone. I can't even get anyone to return my call. I've had people that return my call that didn't show up when they said they were supposed to. So my friends told me you should still never give a roofer cash up front, because if there's a roofer out there that has to, you know, get your money to buy the shingles to put on your roof, that's someone that you should be dubious of.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that there's like some honest people out there that want to do business that way, but be careful, man, because that's a clue. If someone, I can't think of how or why I would need paid before I go deliver the wood.
Right.
I don't see how that could possibly be a requirement for me to show up.
Yeah. No, that's a big red flag right there.
Yeah,
Just
totally is.
yeah. So again, it's unfortunate stuff like that out there is happening, but the one thing you can do as a firewood supplier, producer, seller, whatever you are, hobbyist, professionalist, whatever you are, if you're selling firewood, like, take note of the things you can do to make yourself stand out above all the scams and scum out there.
Well said. Well said, Dan. The corporations, they would call this the professional delivery model. And it doesn't matter if you are a hobbyist, you can still have a professional delivery model. And it
Yes.
begins with your personal appearance. the way that you behave when you are in the presence of a customer. You avoid smelling like beer and cussing and peeing in the customer's front yard. These are all actual complaints that I've heard from other customers I've taken wood to about the other guy that they had. Yeah, the lady, it was one of these residential cul-de-sac kind of places, and the guy took a leak right in her front yard.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, showing up when you say that you're going to show up. Having a courteous phone call, making the terms of the transaction perfectly clear, having a written, an invoice that's printed or even handwritten with the way that they can reach you if there's a problem. These people that just dump and go and they have no idea who they were, that's a clue.
Yep.
So even if you're just doing this for fun, you can still maintain that professional delivery model.
Yeah, and then you will stand out, and you will probably get called back next year or whenever, next month, next week, however fast they're using up their firewood.
Yeah. People talk, and they're going to tell their friend. Just like, these people I deliver wood to tell me about their bad experiences. They found beer cans in their wood.
Ooh.
The stuff wasn't even technically wood that got delivered to them. It was mulch and mud and mushrooms.
The 3Ms.
Yeah.
The 3Ms to avoid.
Yeah. Yeah, the stories I hear are the one, he was the stereotypical grouchy old man. But he was kind of like a lovable grouchy old man. I didn't feel threatened with. I mean, he was just grouchy and just complaining about everything, and he was just furious about the previous guy that brought all this garbage wood to him, and he was the one yelling, "This is flame retardant firewood," he was saying.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. But here we go. Professional delivery model. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe if we can create this culture in our industry, these scumbags that are out there scamming people will stand out and be even more obvious to where people don't fall for it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, so was it actually the coffee table that you hit with the pinky toe, or was it this fee from the resort? What really is sticking more, sticking into you more?
Yeah. Well, my pinky toe's feeling better, but I'm still agitated by the fee. That's just, gosh.
Yeah. That is crazy.
It was called Other.
Other. I like that though. Yeah.
Come on.
What was the fee? I don't know. Other.
Yeah.
Jeez.
When I went to Florida for Emily's softball games, it was spring training. That was my big takeaway, was that the travel industry is not focused on the customer. They are focused on themselves. I waited in line for an hour to get my rental car. It was the turnstiles of just the lines going back and forth through all these ropes, waiting to get to the two people waiting at the counter because they're too cheap to hire another employee to work there. And it's because they get away with it. And I was looking over at the Hertz counter. There was no waiting over there. But, I didn't rent the Hertz car because it was too pricey. But then I was thinking, you know what? That would have been worth it. Then I have to stand here and I was just sweating because I was agitated, And that's just the way the travel industry is. They can be that way because it's a monopoly. There's no competition. And this monopoly has made them lazy, and they pull this, we're in the crosshairs of their laziness. That's how they generate income now.
Yep.
Fees. Gosh. I wonder what kind of fees we could come up with firewood delivery. How about the glove fee?
Well, yeah, like, yes, I can bring you a third of a cord, and then it's going to cost this much. There's a loading fee. There's an unloading fee. There's a I don't know, road fee, delivery fee, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you could really start
A hydration fee. We should
hydration
charge them
fee.
for our bottle of water.
Yep.
When I took my car to get the oil change, they nailed me with a hazmat fee
Mm.
for the used oil. There was a shop. It was a shop towel. It was shop supply fee. For like their paper towels to wipe their hands off with. Gosh, come on. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they $29.99 oil change, and then you wind up paying $50 for it because all these other fees are put on there. So let's do this here for the firewood industry. I'm going to have a glove fee. Well, heck, I could have a t-shirt fee because I'm going to soak through one of my
Yep.
t-shirts. It
You
would
got
have
to
to be
change.
washed. Yeah.
Yep. Changing fee.
Um, fuel surcharge.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah. What else can we do here, Dan? There's a cleanup fee.
Yeah, or you could apply a fee per month for as long as the wood's been seasoning, like a storage seasoning fee per month.
I like it. Yeah, it would be a site rental fee.
Yeah. Do you want
I,
the 3 month or 6 month wood?
yeah, they have to pay for how long the wood sat in my
Yeah.
yard drying.
Hey, why
I
not?
like it.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
there's a telecommunications fee
Yeah.
because I had
Yeah.
to use my phone to talk to him.
Boy, we better quit this, or we're going to start planting some seeds on fees.
Yeah. What do they say? If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah. So we could do this all day.
Heck yeah, we could be 1,200 a cord. 1,200.
Podcast fee,
Yes. Podcast fee.
Dr. Pepper fee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
This could go on forever. Yeah, but I don't ever see that happening. And that's what I'm saying about the firewood industry. There should be truth in advertising. How many times that one guy I bought firewood off of, he had a picture of this firewood. It looked nice. And he said it was it was 140 for almost a cord. It was a dump truck load. And I thought, well, I can't go wrong. He's going to bring it right to my house. So he brought it out and dumped it. And I was like, well, this wood looks like garbage. It was all odds and ends. And I stacked it out. It was almost a half cord. And it was probably even less than that because most of the pieces weren't even 16 inches. All the oak was cut real short. Obvious tree service. Tree service always cuts their oak pieces shorter because they're too heavy to carry. The pine logs are always too long because they're real light, so you can cut them extra long. You don't have to cut them as much. And some got split, some didn't.
So the picture that you saw was from the one time he stacked wood 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a picture of this beautiful firewood with this guy standing next to his wife in yoga pants from Wisconsin. I was like, wow, that looks like nice firewood. I think I'll get that.
Look at that. That guy. Yeah. I've seen his face before. Who is that guy?
But he did show up on time. He did come when he said. That part, he fulfilled his obligation there.
Yeah, check the boxes there.
Yeah, just the wood was subpar. I still made profit off of it, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Yeah, so truth in advertising. The pictures that you put up of your wood for sale should be your wood for sale. And your quantity should be accurate. The price should be clearly announced. And you should leave some type of a receipt with it, with your contact information. In Ohio, that is the law, believe it or not, to sell bulk firewood. It's not enforced, though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's probably not enforced too heavily, but
no, I've never seen the firewood police out there. The one county that's 2 counties over, it's Summit County, where Akron is. I believe they have you have to have a permit from the county to sell firewood in their county. No. I don't know if that comes with any other obligations, but that's not in my area anyways. I just happen to know about it.
Yeah, I know up here you need some type of certification to sell like across the border to Minnesota. So like if you're in west central Wisconsin and you're
Uh-huh.
close to Minnesota, you need something. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. And it is my understanding out here that I am not allowed to take my firewood and sell it into Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And, where I live, you got all these back roads. Sometimes you don't know if you're in Ohio or if you're in Pennsylvania. But my thing is that, when your truck has your name and phone number on the side of it, you kind of pay attention to that stuff.
You better. Yep.
Yeah, I get calls from Pennsylvania. I always refer them to our good friend Adam at Hometown Acres.
Oh,
Spread the
there you
wealth.
go.
Yeah, spread the wealth. Yeah, yeah. So Dan, that's what's on my mind. I am still feeling terrible for our the lady that emailed us last week, because that's hard-earned cash, man.
Yep.
Just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll leave a bad taste in your mouth, that's for sure.
yeah, it sure does. Good heavens. Why can't anything in life be easy?
Yep.
Yeah,
Including
as
walking around
easy
in the
as
dark at night.
yeah. I was going to say easy as the Woodhounds podcast, because
Yeah.
I love doing the podcast, and I look forward every week, Dan, getting to hang out with you and just talking about firewood and what's on our mind.
There you go. And yeah, and we appreciate all you out there tuning in each and every week. 5 a.m. every Wednesday morning on your favorite podcasting platforms.
Yeah. Are you thinking about maybe striking up the band now?
I am about to strike it up because I have to run and avoid coffee tables.
Okay, there's a fee for that. I'm going to have a coffee table fee. Yeah, pinky, pinky toes and travel fees.
Travel fees.
Well, Dan, I think maybe it's time. Let's just thank everyone for tuning in and listening to the Woodhounds podcast and helping make us the #1 firewood podcast in the world.
Yeah, that's right. And now, do your other thing.
Okay. Let's all tell everyone to be
cool
and stay
safe online.
And yeah, stay safe online and have
a great day.